Okay, guys, so this is a special edition of readings, and it's the first time I ever do a grand tableau reading on the YouTube channel. I've done this several times for personal readings because this is the best way, I think, to look at someone's life overall. Because what you end up doing when, no matter how you structure the traditional readings, there's always questions, there's always patterns, and I always want to find out the big pattern before focusing on something. So you end up doing lots of readings in order to look at the big picture. And because Jared Kushner, I thought I had so many questions about him, what's going to happen, all of this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who believes there's something happening soon about him. It sounds like he's going to be indicted, something, okay? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try doing a grand tableau reading on him, and that's what I'm doing. Now, before I get started, I just want to say this is probably going to be a bit longer than all the readings I've done before. And also, this is not a class, so try to follow. I'm going to try to be as clear as possible, but it's not, the purpose here is to tell the story, not necessarily to explain every single thing. I think the reading itself is really much more, this style of reading is a lot more intuitive. There's specific things to look at, but at the same time, the story develops as you learn, as you look into the relationships of each card. Okay, so there's two things that you should keep in mind. Obviously you don't need to know the tarot or anything, or you don't need to know the Lenormand. Just to explain what you're seeing on the screen, you see the cards, you're familiar with the cards, and the writing with the numbers underneath. So this writing with the numbers is just the houses, because this style of reading, the Grand Tableau, has fixed houses that correspond to the actual cards, sort of like astrology, right? Like you're Aries and you have the first house is the Aries, something like sort of similar to that, okay? And then of course you shuffle the cards, and depending on which cards fall in whatever house, the house influences the context of the meaning. Okay, it's not as strong as, for example, astrology, but it is very contextual. It's kind of similar. In a way, it's similar to how I use the tarot in the other readings you've seen. It's basically what's underneath. So that really colors the meaning, but it's not necessarily the meaning itself, okay? And then there's different ways of, I'm going to go around and I'm going to look at the cards nearby, and there's all the different kinds of things, but basically this is a picture of the person's life, and it uses all the cards in the deck, okay? And you can see that I've highlighted, there's a lot of little kind of rectangles around several cards, and I'll tell you about them now, okay? So the main thing, you can see the one in red is the position of the man, who's Jared, right? Number 15 here, there. So that's the core, the center of the reading, okay? And then I also, for someone like him, and when I do personal readings too, I like to define whoever the important people are. Sometimes I'm told whoever the important people are, but in this case with Jared, I feel like the context for the country and for us, and as far as we know about him, the people that matter in this circumstance are: 1, obviously Jared; 2, Ivanka; 3, Trump; and 4, Bob Mueller. Okay, so I've selected these people before I shuffle, before I do the reading. I consciously wanted these people to be represented, so I chose the cards and I named them before I shuffled. So you can see the number 15 is Bear, that's Jared. And then you can see that on number 19, the first column, the lilies, that's older man. I chose that to represent Trump. I chose, obviously the lady is the wife anyway, but here's Ivanka at position 26. You see the second column to the last. And then the last person to appear is the snake. I chose the dog to represent Bob Mueller because the dog is loyal, and it's also one of the cards that oftentimes represents a person, so he's the dog. Okay, so I chose all of those, and then I shuffled, and however, whatever they came out, they add to the story. Okay, so this is a screencast, by the way. I created the graphic and I'm just reading over it. I'm not going to appear in the video for obvious reasons. There's no need for me to be there. And there's so many cards that I think this is the case where you're better off being able to look at the cards, okay, than see my face, okay? That means nothing in my face or whatever. All right, so let's get started. And like I said, this may be, I might stop, might do a pause, but I'm just going to go on. And it's because it's super, I think it's one of the most interesting readings, because the challenge for example, personal readings is that you don't know a lot of times a lot of detail about the person's life. But in the case of public figures like Jared, we know a lot about him and all the things that are at stake. So in a way, it's much easier because we know a lot, okay? All right, so let's get started with this position 15. We look at Jared there. I'm gonna try to zoom in 1 second and see. Oh, it didn't work, but 1 sec. So try to zoom. Let's see, because it's recording right now. Let's see if, oh wow, this is cool. Okay, let's see here if I can, 1 second. I'm gonna try to drag this here. Yeah, you can see here, I can't highlight it, but you can see I put at the center here, the card 15, the bear, okay? So that's Jared right there. And the first thing to look at is what surrounds Jared, okay? And okay, let me zoom out again, because I want to see here. I want to show you one thing, which is where everybody is, okay? Because I felt like it makes no sense for me to go right into everything that's around him before we locate everybody, okay? So look at where the column where Jared is, where there's a book on top, okay? And the column in the grand tableau is about timing. So whatever wherever the significator is, which is Jared, is located, wherever he is, that means that's the present, and whatever it's right to him, that's the future. And before I started with the reading, I wanted to find out 3 months into his future, okay? So this is going, the last column, that's February, all right? That's what I think, because I feel like there's a lot going on for the next months about him, okay? So we've located him, we know where he is, we know the future. So look at the column right next to him here, the dog, the position 7, the snake. So the dog is Bob Mueller. So Bob Mueller very soon, because this is the next step. So very soon Bob Mueller is going to get into the picture here, is going to get involved with him somehow, okay? We're going to talk about what's going to happen, but I just want to, again, locate him. So we have Bob Mueller. And then at 26, we'll have Ivanka. So Ivanka, something about Ivanka is going to happen right after that, okay? But Ivanka, in a way, she's not particularly relevant to the story because she's a partner, but she's not somebody that could change his fate the way Mueller could and will. So that's that. And another important person that I said at the very first column is the lilies, okay? So that's that. So we know where everybody's located. Now, there are different ways to, before I get into actually where he is located, let's look at different techniques to assess quickly the meaning of the story, to understand what's going on. So one of the ways that we do that is to look at the corner cards. So 1, 9, 28, and 36. Okay, so here we have the first 3 cards actually they mean a lot. So they give a tone to the reading. They basically say, okay, this is what's happening. This is the core, what's driving this reading, what's very important. So you can see here that the first position is a loss. We've looked at this card also as corruption, but I think ultimately it's about loss. So in the first position of the news, what's coming soon is loss, okay? And then number 2 is clever, which is opportunity. And one thing to see here that's very significant is that clever is twice. It's in the house. So a seriously massive, huge opportunity, and then a ship in a crossroads. So something that's going to leave his life, or something that has to do with foreign, something that's moving, the choices is made. So if I read these 3 cards side by side, it says loss of opportunity through a choice related to a foreign power. Okay, that's really the core of the story here, right? And that's clear. And the interesting thing here is that the reading itself is saying he had a huge, ginormous opportunity. And I think it refers to both, obviously, money, but also, like, imagine if Jared Kushner had not been corrupt. that would imagine being in the White House. That's a huge opportunity in and of itself. But I think what this refers to also is the money, right? The money issue. It comes up here a lot, so we'll talk about it more. But this is basically the tone of the reading. It's the story of a loss that happened as a result of choices that were made related to a foreign power. Okay, all right. So, so looking at that, so let's see. Now let's look at also, like I said before, I go back traditionally to Jared. Let's look at what's happening to people that have most power here. And I don't think it's very fair to say actually that the most powerful person here is Trump. And he is in the position 19, Tower. Okay. So Lily's the older man here. Let's look at that column. Now that's a very serious column, I think, for several reasons. And that's at the very first point. So we have here a very, very hardcore situation. And I think it's important that we look at first. We could not just because it's in the first column, because Trump is there. So what do we have above Trump? We have the coffin. Okay. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say, and then it's relevant about the format of the reading. The format of the Grand Tableau a lot of times is 8x4, and basically it's 8 cards in 4 rows, and then last row 4. But you have the option of also changing to 9 cards in 4 rows, and that's what I did. And I did that for the purpose of the format, okay, so that we can see things a little better. I think it makes a lot more sense for the screen. If I'm not talking about this with you in person, then it's much easier to do this. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to try actually see if I can zoom here. We can look at Trump here. Okay, so here, if you can see 19, the tower, it's a little bit closer. Okay, so position 19, we have Trump. So look at what's above him. Okay, zoom out a little bit more. So just looking again at this is very serious. So the news. Okay, let's look at the meaning of these cards together. So on the top we have the news about a loss, and then this is like super negative, very, very negative. So in the house of the scythe, which is a sudden accident or something happened unexpected, a sudden cut, we have a death. We have the coffin. So there's a sudden ending here related to this person who is Trump. So Trump has a sudden ending. Very serious because it's both coffin and scythe together. It's a pretty bad usually. I mean, always, right? So we have that. Okay, so that's a very important contextual piece of information that obviously we all want to know, right? And that's what it's looking like. This really sets the tone for the reading. And underneath Trump, what do we have? We have a snake. So obviously we know that Trump is a snake, but look at the context of the so where is the snake located? The snake is located in the position of man. And who is man in the reading? That's Jared. So right away we're not surprised by this, of course, because it's a snake pit, but I get the feeling, and I think it's pretty obvious, the snake here is Jared, because so there's a method of reading of the Grand Tableau. There are several methods, but one of them that I'm going to use especially for this instance is that you read the card and you look at the card of the house. So you find the house and then you find the card that corresponds to the house, and that's how you move through the tableau. So let's look at that. So we have the situation where there's loss because there's news of a loss through a sudden ending, probably death in a larger scale of this older man. Okay. And the older man, there's a snaky older man, but there's a snake that could also, where's the snake? I think it's because the snake represents a situation, but represents a person. So I think the snake, like I said, is Jared because it's position 28, and 28 is man. So let's find man. And now if we find man, we go back to the center of the reading, which is the significator, which is Jared. So Jared is involved in some way in the ending of the president, because if it's correct what we're looking at here, we can see that he is betraying Trump in some way. Okay, so that's very significant. Okay, so what this could tell us, and we'll talk more about this, okay, is that we it's possible that he will eventually talk to Mueller about Trump. Okay, it's possible. But anyway, I just wanted to contextualize this, the position of Trump in relationship to him and how this frames a lot of things. Okay, so that's that. That's one. Now, going back to Jared, let's look at what's around him, the cards and the negative cards. So the yellow cards, like I said, are cards that I believe are relevant to his situation. They're not the main subject, but I think they're all telling of what's happening. So if we look at the column where Jared is located, that's the column that has the book on top, position 6, the cloud. So if we read this story right away, we kind of know what's going to happen. So there's Jared. Jared is the boss. He's in the boss situation. Okay, so he has a secret. There's a secret related to him. Now, if we look at where the book card, the secret, right, is located, it's located at Cloud House. So what is Cloud? Cloud is problem. It's something. It's basically a problem, some issue that's coming up, and it's also about lack of clarity and things that are not seen. So there's a secret that was not seen. That's going to create a real problem for him through what? And if we look at the right below him, we have the fox. So what does the fox mean? The fox means shady deals behind our back. And we know that about him. That's pretty much his job. That's really his job is in the White House, is the fox. He's the guy who does all the shady dealing behind everybody's back, the country, everybody, right? So that's very clear. The secrets are related to his shady, foxy bullshit. Okay, that's what he does. He's a piece of shit. Let's just get real. Let's just. It makes me so mad. Oh my god, Dines like this. I kind of wish I wasn't on camera, but you know what I mean, right? It's like hello. This guy is like, he's so scary, right? He's so wrong to the country. Anyway, so here we are. We have right underneath. We have the secret creating problems because it's related to shady dealings behind our back. And look at Fox. Where is Fox located? Fox is located in the house of the heart, which is, I think, not just, it's sometimes happiness, but I think it's the core of who he is. So we know that Jared, at his core, he's a fox. He's a person we cannot trust, and we know that about him. But more interesting is the card right below the heart, which is the heart house, which is at position 33, the key, the cross. So what does the cross mean in the context of all the readings we've done about the Russia situation? That means guilt. So it's saying here, and this is a position present, he is guilty of this because of, okay, so let's kind of go back to the storyline. Because of the problems he's had with the secret related to his shady dealings, and because he is in fact a shady person at heart, he is found to be guilty, and that's the solution to the reading, because the cross is located at the key position. So the key position means a very important aspect of the reading, or a very important thing, is his guilt. Okay, so that's it. He's done. That alone, we know what's going to happen to him. You know, that's it. He's guilty. All right. So let's move on. Let's think about what's coming next. All right. So we solved this one column. So let's look at what's next to him. We have on the next column to his right, at the position of the snake, we have the dog, who is Mr. Mueller. We talked about this before. I have said that I had chosen him as the dog card to represent him, Mr. Mueller, before the reading got started. And where did this card fall? It fell on the snake position. And the houses, obviously they're not cards, so they don't really correspond to a person, but to a context. So in context, the snake means problems and enemies. So obviously, if he's doing illegal things, his main enemy is Mr. Mueller. And there he is in a very strong position, right? He is in the position of somebody who's going to cause problems to him. Okay? So what's going on with Mr. Mueller? Mr. Mueller is happy, very happy. There's a card underneath him, the card of the hearts. So at heart, Mr. Mueller is coming with the scythe, creating an ending to Jared Kushner. Okay, so right underneath we have, and what happens? Problems, clouds. So Mr. Mueller is happy to be creating a cut because of the problem. Like, because of all the incurring problems that he's had, right? In a way, this creates yet another problem for Jared, well, or the main problem, right? So there we have. We know that if we know that this is the present, right? The column right to the, let's say starting at position 6 is the present. The next thing is going to come really soon is Miller. So the next thing, the next position, either in a day, in a week, or in a, not even a month. I think it's either a day, a week, or a month. So tomorrow, or within a month, or within a month or a week, this is going to happen to him. So an ending is going to come. Okay, so it's probably, who knows? We don't, like I said, it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month. So let's say that this is either January or even with, I don't know, let's not guess too much, with the time frame, right? So he's coming for him, Miller, okay? And that's the thing that's going to happen next, is this cut. And it's interesting because if we look at where the scythe is located, at the ring position, the ring is a card of business partnerships. So let's look at that. What does that mean? Well, that means that, okay, so how do we find where this leads to? Okay, so let's find the ring card. So the ring card is at the cross position. So let's say here that the scythe related to the ring, related to the ring leads to the cross. So the cutting of the business, what creates this ending is the business deal. Okay, and look at where the business deal leads to. It leads to the cross, and the cross is the guilt. So this tells us what the path is here. And this is what's so great about the style of reading, is that one thing leads to another, and you kind of start finding the threads and everything. It's super exciting when this happens. So let's again go back to 25, position 25 with the cut. Because of this ring, and where is the ring located? At the cross position. The cross means guilt. And let's find the card cross. The cross is at the key. So this key, his business deal is what's going to do him, and is the key to the reading, and is the key to his guilt. So let's locate the key. And where is the key? The key is at the woman position. So another very important position here for solving is the woman. So obviously we know that if it wasn't for her, he would not be in this position. I'm not blaming her at all. I'm just saying that because of who her dad is. Okay, so let's find the woman. Oh my God, this is so exciting. It's like a game. This is what's so cool about it. Okay, so 29 position. Okay, house 29. Where is 29? She is at position 26. The book. And what is the book? The book is on top of Jared. The book is the secret. So she knows of the secret. She's related to the secret, and the secret has to do with her milieu, right? Everything that she does. And where is the book located? The book is located in the cloud position. So it's really what's going to start the problems for Jared. And if we look at where the cloud card is located, it's located at position 34, which is the card of fish, a lot of money. So again, this relates to the column of Bob Mueller, because we have the dog that's happy to create this, to put these cuts into action, an ending, right? And then in the end, there's a cloud, right? So all the actions lead to a cloud, the problem. And this problem is related to what? To the fish. And like I said, I just wanted to say that before, what's the secret related to it? To Ivanka. So Ivanka she's in this too, right? She knows that somehow it's probably a family business, these secret deals, okay? And the problem that comes as a result, right? Because we see that the secret is in the house 6, and the house 6 cloud leads to the card cloud, and the card cloud is in the position of lots of money, large quantities of money, okay? Oh my God, guys, it's so exciting. This is like the best reading ever. Okay, it's so exciting because, okay, let's look at the cloud. So here's a cloud, and it's in the house for what? For large quantities of money. So where does this lead to? Let's find large quantities of money, the card fish. That's, for some reason I crossed the number, but crossroad is right next to the mountain, number 1. So it's supposed to be 22. It's not showing there 22, but you could see, okay, that this was a choice. Oh, I made a mistake, guys. Oh my God. Oh, okay, let me, one second, okay, here, okay. Let me go back, because I still have the cards right next to me here. One second. Uh, Garden, I think it was, right? Yep, one second. Okay. I made a mistake, but I can fix it. So basically, position 31, I repeated the crossroads, but it's not crossroads, it's the garden that's supposed to be there. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording for now, and I'm going to come back. Okay, come back to just put the card where it's supposed, the right card where it's supposed to go, and then but everything else relates. It's not a huge deal. The part one remains. Okay, so actually, what I think I'm going to do, I'm actually going to post this as is, and come back because it's fresh. Come back to and do this other part of the reading, and continue because there's still a lot to talk about. Okay, so I'm going to stop now, upload this, and then go back to the reading to continue because it would be too long if I let it go further. I'm just going to stop, put the right card in that place, go back to this, and upload. Okay, so see you soon on the next part 2. All right. Okay.